So this video I'm doing from the couch because it's Texas and it's about 90 degrees out in my garage right now, and it's the middle of the night. So that's why the change of scenery. But again, I'm going to be doing a video tonight on the NSA's spying on the American people by getting all their cell phone records. Now, I know a lot of people that say, what does it matter? I'm not doing anything wrong, and they're looking for terrorists, so they don't care what I'm doing, and they're not going to keep track of me and what I do. But actually, you're quite wrong about that. And what they can tell from your phone records is a lot more concerning than what they already know about you. What do I mean by that? Let's take the IRS, for example. The IRS knows where I work, how much money I make, and knows pretty much where I live and who I live with. Outside of that, they know nothing about me. They don't know where I go, what I do, what my hobbies are, any of that stuff. They don't know about my daily life. They just know how much money I make so they can take a chunk of that money away, because that's all they're concerned with. Now, let's take this metadata that the NSA is gathering. They know every time I use my cell phone. They know what number I called. They don't know what I said on the phone, but they know who I called and how long I called them for. They know where I placed the calls from the local cell towers. So they're tracking my movements. So they have computers that will profile each person and lump them into a certain category. So they may have one category, old grandma, doesn't really get out and do much, doesn't use her phone much. Then they may have another category, active teenager, texts all the time. Very young person, always calling Hot Topic and places like that. Okay, so what do they know about me from my phone calls? They know, for instance, that I call sporting goods stores quite often. They know that I call firearm accessory stores too quite often to find ammo and to find accessories for my weapons. They also know that I place phone calls on a regular basis to a private shooting club. They also know that I make phone calls from that private shooting club quite often, about once a week. So they not only know that I'm into firearms heavily, they also know that I go out and shoot a firearm on a weekly basis on average to a bi-weekly basis. So if they take that information about me, and they're going to lump me into a category that I have lots of firearms and shoot them quite often and am heavily trained in them. So at some point down the line, what if the government decides that they want to take away all firearms? They're going to lump me and people like me into a class where they're going to come and get ours first. And the reason I say that is because not only do they know that we own firearms, but they know that we actively use and train them. Do you think the government really cares about the guy who owns one handgun, who never goes to the range with it and keeps it in a drawer in his house? Not so much. A guy like me, though, I train and I'm on YouTube, so they're going to find me anyway, so that's why I'm saying this. They're going to know what I'm up to for my YouTube videos. But they know that I'm an avid firearms owner and sportsman, and that I go out all the time and shoot. So they're going to put me at the top of their list to come and search my entire home and find everything that I own. Because if it comes down to worrying about private gun owners owning firearms, the ones who shoot them all the time are probably going to be the primary concern first. They're going to go systematically down the list. Okay, so the police aren't going to be high up on that list because they're the police. I'm going to be at the top of their list. But I have a YouTube channel, so they already know who I am. But that's why you should be concerned with this. And here's another thing. What if when they start passing laws, what if my behavior changes significantly? That's going to red flag the heck out of me. I mean, all of a sudden I start changing my travel patterns, I start changing my phone call patterns, and I'm already lumped into the mega shooter that I am that they know about, and all of a sudden my behavior starts changing. Now all of a sudden they're like, well, this guy's a mega shooter, he's changed his entire behavior, and now we have to go and put him under government surveillance because he's up to something. Something's changed. So again, this is why this is so concerning, because it is a total invasion of privacy. It totally violates the Fourth Amendment of the United States, that I should be secure in my private life and in my documents and in my home, because they are invading my privacy 24/7 with this system. And the founders would be amazed if they knew that The government got to the point where it was tracking every single citizen and profiling them so that they could later on do something with that information. And it could be 5 years down the line, it could be 10 years down the line, it could be 20 years down the line. I don't know, but I know this, as long as we let them do this, they're going to keep all that information and keep building it and profiling it, and they're going to know what I'm doing before I even think about doing it based on my habits and patterns. So again, this is why it's concerning, and this is why we should all be disgusted that they are doing this to every person in the United States who has a cell phone in their possession. Thanks.
Meep, meep.